I, for many, many years, only did backups of my data, not of my laptop or desktops or anything, as an imaging style backup rather than a file by file backup. I do a very good job of file by file, um, but not imaging. And I decided to buy an external hard drive and image my computer. And I was using and am still using the free version of Macrium Reflect, the last version that was available before they took it away and are making people buy Macrium Reflect now. Um, the free version lets you do a full backup and a differential backup, but not incrementals. So if you have a very large hard drive and you want to do backups frequently, incrementals would be the one that you would want to do every day. And you can't do it with the free version. You can only do differentials, which for me takes about 20 minutes. So if I want to install a new piece of software or make a change, I have to wait 20 minutes to do the differential backup before I can proceed. So that's the downside of the free version. Um, After I did the install, or while I was doing the install, I came across a companion program that I had never heard of before from Macrium Reflect called Macrium VI Boot. And Macrium VI Boot is a program that when it launches, here it is. Um, what it does is Macrium Reflect makes on Windows only, really. You can use it to image a Linux machine, but you have to boot off of a USB drive and image it that way. On Windows, it can run in the background and use the volume shadow copy feature of Windows to back up your hard drive live while you're using it. So you don't have to stop necessarily using your computer to run Macrium Reflect, imaging backups. But what caught me the most was the ability to use this VI boot software. Um, and what it lets you do is take an image of your machine and boot it up as a virtual machine so that you have a live version of your computer. And it's I think it's most useful for people that have two computers, two reasonably good computers, not one good one and one old one, because you need memory to run the virtual machine in addition to running Windows. So you need to have, I've got 64 gigs of RAM in this machine and 32 in my other one. And what I do is I have an external 4 terabyte drive on each machine, and each machine backs up does its imaging to that external hard drive. And I do a full backup and then I do differential backups. So in the Macrium Reflect software, this is the let me maximize it. This is the Macrium Reflect software. And one of the first things that you need to do or want to do is click on this little rescue button here, and it creates bootable rescue media. So in the event that your computer doesn't boot, or your hard drive crashes and you have to put a new one in, or you want to get a bigger one and replace a smaller hard drive with a bigger one, you need the rescue media. And you just click on this button and it will help you go through the process of creating a Windows PE Macrium Reflect boot disk. And you just basically follow their instructions and it does it for you. It's very nice. And then I have in my computer two hard drives. Right now, I'm only been actively imaging one of them. the C drive, which is this first one here. It's got all of these partitions on here, and Windows is this one right here. Disk 2, you can see it is called data, and it's basically where I store my virtual machines. I do a lot of virtual machine work. I usually keep a couple of virtual machines running all the time, and one of, that's Windows, one that's Linux, and I can give them enough memory because I have 64 gigs of RAM, and I have a 1 terabyte C drive and a 2 terabyte D drive. And it would be difficult to image all of that to a single 4 terabyte external drive. So right now I'm only imaging the C drive, which is more important to me than the virtual machines that are sitting on my data drive. If I lost them, it wouldn't be the end of the world. At some point I'll buy another drive and back the second hard drive up, my data drive that's in my laptop. So what I do is, if you click on the existing backups tab, these are the backups that I've done, and I have this is showing MSI C drive and C drive. I just labeled them differently. You can see that they're full and differentials, and the very first file on the top says full, and then underneath it says differential, and then full, and then a few differentials. So I've got two full backups and some differentials on this external drive. And what I would do on a as needed basis, I don't have it set up on a fixed schedule, although you do have the ability in Macrium Reflect to create a schedule and let it back up automatically for you. If you go into new and create differential and incremental, if I were to let me go to the create backup tab and say image this. This is where you would start off at the very beginning. You would click on the image your disk thing and tell it where you want it to go, and it creates the very first full backup. And I have them backing up to a Macrium Reflect folder on my E drive. After you get your first image done, if you hit next, it gives you the ability to create a schedule, and you can schedule your full backups, your differential backups, and if you pay, the incremental backups. And you can decide how many full backups you want it to keep, how many differentials you want it to keep. And in my case, I have no choice. I can't choose the incrementals. It costs about $100 a year to back up a machine. I think if I were to buy a 2-pack, it would cost me $100 to a year to be able to do incremental backups of both machines, which I'm teetering on doing because I wouldn't have run into this. If I had run into this problem and I had done an incremental last night, I would have already restored it. But I'm doing differentials, so to save money, it may not be worth the $100. It may be worth the $100 a year to have the incremental backups. What you can do after what I do when I'm ready to do a backup is I go into the existing backups tab and I select, these are from September, these are from October, and you can see today's the 29th. I'm guilty of not having done a differential since the 19th, which is 10 days ago, which is a long time in my life. Robert, you have your hand raised?
Yes, that's my name. This may seem obvious, but does the image contain the BIOS? I assume it
Uh,
does, but I don't
it,
know
it
for
yeah,
sure.
it contains the well, the BIOS itself is physically on your computer.
Right, it's in a
Um,
chip. I just looked it up. But
but the
does
boot
Linux and
partition,
Windows use a different BIOS?
well,
No,
the computer has a BIOS in it, and your Windows and Linux will both use the same BIOS. You may have um, UEFI for one and um, a different one for the other. Um, I'm not sure if they both support UEFI or at the same time or not. It is possible to dual boot Windows and Linux. I know people that do that and have both operating systems on their machine, and it operates off a single boot partition. So the BIOS is able to handle that um, on most computers today. Um,
Drew,
yes,
the BIOS is a hardware dependent piece of software. All it does is check your machine for hardware and says, okay, I have one of those, and it sets up a relationship between the hardware device and how to handle signals on that hardware device. The next layer of software is on top of the BIOS, and that starts saying, how do I handle interactions with this piece of hardware? So that's why you can have a, a, a Linux machine as well as a Windows machine on a given piece of hardware at the same time virtually, because the BIOS is agnostic. It is purely hardware.
right.
I'm,
Okay, good.
I do a lot of multi-booting. What Robert may be referring to is the bootloader. Windows
That's
and
totally
Linux
different.
have
That's right.
different bootloaders. Linux can subsume Windows into its own bootloader. Windows can subsume Linux into its bootloader, but the bootloader is what sits between the hardware BIOS and the operating system.
Right.
And it does what you're talking about, Peter, the initial stage.
Right. And Bob Lanston was asking about what's going on. So the BIOS is purely hardware. The bootloader says, okay, what operating system, that is, what piece of software do you want to use to understand how all these pieces are talking to each other? And Linux does it one way, Windows does it another, and God knows what we'll do it a third way.
And to answer the
Yeah.
question, the bootloader and the EFI partition are backed up by any good piece of backup software.
Yeah, all that is operating system specific.
Yes.
Yeah. And you can see, if you look at this, I don't know if you can see the small text, but over here, it actually has the word BIOS in this partition right here. And then the primary BIOS area for my hard drive is this little FAT32 partition up at the front. It's a 33 megabyte partition. And then it has, this is the way the hard drive came from the manufacturer. It has this little 128 megabyte unformatted primary partition with nothing in it. Then it has a 900 gigabyte NTFS partition, which is where Windows is. And then it has the Windows recovery partition that you could use to restore your computer back to original Windows. And then this is another 21 gigabytes of something related to the BIOS. I don't know what. But that's the makeup of my hard drive. And Macro Reflect backs up the whole thing, the entire hard drive.
You have a quick question. You mentioned you're running virtualization. Which virtualization software are you using?
Well, that's a very good question. I use 3 different virtual machine software products now. I used to use, I grew up on on VMware Workstation because I used it at work. The company that I worked for many, many years had a volume license agreement with VirtualBox, and all of the employees ran virtual machines on their machines. The developers did it, the salespeople did it, tech support, they all had different reasons for doing it. So I've been using VMware for about 20 years, and I still use it today. And thankfully, it went from, I used to pay for the license, 150, $200 a version. Now it's available for free of charge. So VirtualBox is now completely, VirtualBox Pro, or VMware Pro, I'm sorry, VMware Pro is now completely free. You can use it without a license code. I also use VirtualBox primarily because it's free, and it's very good to use. And I had not used Microsoft's virtual machine software at all until I got involved with Macrium Reflect. And this is a good opportunity to tell you why. The free version of Macrium Reflect is capable of creating from your backup image a Microsoft virtual machine. It's not capable of creating a VirtualBox machine in the free version because it's not compatible with the current version of VirtualBox. And if you have the paid version of Macrium, it may very well allow you to directly create a VirtualBox virtual machine. It does not let you create a VMware machine. But I'm going to cover today how to start with that Microsoft machine that you can create for free and turn it into either one of the others very easily. There's a free program available. It's very simple to use that allows you to convert the disk file from Microsoft into VirtualBox or Microsoft into VMware. I had been running Windows Home for a long time, which does not come with the Microsoft virtual machine software. So I upgraded both of my computers to Windows 11 Pro. I did that through a one of those websites where you can buy a license key for $10 and turn Home into Pro. And the Pro version of Windows allows you to run the Microsoft virtual machine, which is required if you're going to do what I'm going to demonstrate. You can take, let's say, for example, the computer that I'm on had a system failure. I can take the backup drive that's hanging off of it right now and plug it into my other computer and take the most recent backup that I have and turn it into a virtual machine of the computer that's not working anymore. So my secondary computer will become essentially both computers until I can get the first one repaired. And what you would do is it has in the software here, in the Macrium Reflect software, it has a VI boot button. And it actually, the text might be too small for you to read, but underneath the button, it says launch Macrium VI boot to boot the selected image file into a virtual machine. And it will be a Microsoft virtual machine, so you have to have Pro. And if I were to click on, I'll do the most recent differential. If I were to click on VI boot, it's going to start the process of creating that virtual machine. And it may take a while. So I'm not going to, here's the creating VM file from this disk. And you can give it a name for the virtual machine. And you can specify the amount of memory that you want to give it, how many processors you want to give it. And the virtual switch is basically your network adapter. External virtual switch on my computer is my Ethernet adapter. Internal would basically be a host only machine, as it without going out on the internet. External will let me get out on the internet. And if I were to click on the finish button, it would start it would take maybe 15 or 20 minutes to create the virtual image and boot it up from my machine, because it's a terabyte drive with 800 gigabytes of stuff on it. So it doesn't boot up in 5 minutes, but it does boot up in about 15 or 20. And I have one already created. So what I will do is go into the see if I can find, yeah, here it is. This is in Microsoft Windows 11 Pro. The software that manages your virtual machines is called the Hyper-V Manager. And I have 4 virtual machines here. And the very first one says MSI from image. And what I will do is just double click on it and say start. And it's now booting up a virtual machine that was from that last backup that I did a couple weeks ago. And it only supports, like I said, the Microsoft, but you can export the disk from Microsoft's virtual machine and convert it into either one of the other two that you might want to use. I have also recently learned that if you want to get an upgrade to Windows 11 Pro at a good price from someplace that's reputable, there's that website and also an app for your phone called Groupon. And Groupon sells $10 licenses so that it will let you upgrade your Windows 11 Home to Pro. So here is my computer. This is an image of the laptop that I'm doing the demonstration on right now. And I have, I'll log in as Jake. And it said that my password has expired. So I'm going to call it Jake1. Jake1. By default, when you create the new Microsoft virtual machine, it sets your passwords to expire periodically. And you can go in and tell it, you can ask ChatGPT the command. There's a command that you can type in at the command prompt that will prevent Windows from telling you that your password has expired and you need to change it. I normally do that, but this is an image on the fly. So now I'm booting up. Here's the desktop, and here is my start menu with all of my software. And you can basically you can continue doing whatever you were doing. You have access to your cloud storage. You have access to all of the data that you have on your computer. You have your, I have my email, and you can basically in a few minutes be up and running with a new system. So I now have the ability for either one of my two machines to become the other machine in the event that I needed to. And if you want, there is I will bring up Macrium. Here is the, I'll go to this website here. This is a company called Starwind Software, and they make a product called V2V converter. And as they show you, it is on the house free. No cost, no catch, no strings attached, 100% free. And it supports 5 major hypervisors. EXI is VMware. Hyper-V is Microsoft. Orvert, I don't know what it is. Proxmox is a open source virtual hypervisor platform, and then of course VirtualBox. And I downloaded this software last night, and you basically I'll click on convert. When you start the software, you basically I started off trying to create to convert an actual virtual machine. You can create a lot, you can convert a live virtual machine that's running into another virtual machine on the fly. Only I ran into login permission problems. When I went to next and I put in the IP address of the host and the username and password, I can't get in. I just could never get it to work. And ChatGPT was of no help. Copilot was no help. I never got it to work. ChatGPT eventually told me to just choose the local file option as a workaround. And here, that is that option here, file on the local machine. So step 1 is you create your backup. Step 2 would be creating, using the Macrium Reflect VI boot to create a Microsoft virtual machine. Now, there is in this choice of options here, there is an export button. And what you would do is you would click on the export button and then decide where you want to export the virtual machine file to. And I created on my external drive, I created a folder called Lexington and then MSI. And here is the VDI file, which is actually a file format for VirtualBox. If I go into Hyper-V and MSI and virtual hard disks, this is the Microsoft disk. It has a VHDX file format. And what you would do is tell this software that you want to point it at here is it's already done it. I just finished doing this. The Hyper-V MSI virtual hard disk, VH disk, and then you would say next, and you would say local file, and then you could decide, do I want to make a virtual machine for VMware? Do I want to make one? I don't need to go to Microsoft because it is Microsoft. QEMU. Oh, that's what this CCOW is. QEMU is an open source virtual machine program that I would not really recommend. It's more for advanced users because it doesn't have a GUI. It's a command line. It's for people that like to funky with the command line. And then VDI is the Oracle VirtualBox machine type. So here you would decide what file type you wanted to output the virtual machine to. And I already did it this morning. I created from this DX file, I created this VDI file, which is the format for VirtualBox. So after you create that disk file, you would go into VirtualBox and say new virtual machine. And down here, you have the option to use an existing virtual hard disk file. And after filling in all of the necessary information up here, you're going to create a new disk blank. And you're going to tell it that you want to use an existing virtual hard disk, and then point it to that virtual disk that you'd go in, and we'll see if this works for me. Go in here and go to Lexington MSI, and here is the VDI file, and it failed. Why did it fail? They're not supported. Something didn't work right. Well, I will remedy that later. What I'll do instead is go into oops, not our clone browser. Go into VirtualBox, VMware Workstation Pro, and I created in VMware Workstation, I created a Lexington machine, and I did this earlier in the night, and it worked. So basically, I got the software to work properly for VMware, but apparently it failed to create the VirtualBox image. This is a virtual machine that I created last night using the Microsoft software. And what's nice about this is a machine that has usually comes with a 90-day license, and you can install software and monkey around with it and play with it and then throw it away. Inside if you choose to upgrade your Windows to Pro, they give you this button here in Hyper-V Manager called Quick Create. And if you click on Quick Create, it gives you the option to create an Ubuntu virtual machine, or a Windows 10 machine, or a Windows 11 machine. And it uses the developer edition of Windows. And if I were to say create virtual machine, it would go out to Microsoft and download all of the files that it needs to create a Windows 11 developer environment. And that's what this is. This is a Windows 11 developer environment. And that takes maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes to create. And then you can have a machine, it's Windows 11, that you can bang around in and install software and do whatever. And if you break it, you throw it away and create a new one. So it's very handy. So step one, so from the Macrium Reflect, where did I create the, let's minimize that. Yeah, this is the machine this is the real machine that you would want to use. This is not a temporary machine. This is my regular licensed machine. If I go into settings, it is the MSI Gamer, and it's logged in right now as a local account from Jake. as opposed to me, so that you didn't see all my personal stuff. I have a test user called Jake, and that's why it says sign into your Microsoft account. If I go into system and about, it should show off that I've got 8 gigs of RAM in this virtual machine, a Core i9 processor, and now it's trying to load some other software. But this is Windows 11 Pro 24. It's actually, this image I took a couple of weeks ago. It's 24H2. My machine has since been upgraded to 25H2. So this is an older image. I haven't, I'll create a new virtual machine with the 25H2 as soon as I iron out the bugs that I have in my system. But so far, does anybody have any questions so far about what I've covered?
Drew, let me just to clarify something, please. Go back to your original screen with where you create the virtual machines. The first two you showed us.
I mean, the macro reflex.
Yeah, the vacuum screen. All right. We listed all the increment, the full and the differentials.
Oh, okay, yeah, here.
Thank you. So if I understand correctly, if I have a machine that completely dies and I want to restore it, and I have a differential that I did 3 seconds ago, I have to do a full restore first, and then the latest.
No. You basically select the differential, and Macrium Reflect knows how to bundle the full and the differential together. So you don't have to do a full restore and then do the differential on top of it. You just say, I want to restore the differential, and it knows that the differential is linked to the full.
Okay, so basically, when you say differential, what it'll do, it goes back to the full, and it adds all the differentials that are before that to bring you up to where you are, just like a source code.
Well, and what you're describing is actually incremental. Incremental backups are, if I do an incremental backup today and I do another one tomorrow and I do another one the next day, in order to get the full machine, you have to restore the full backup and then each and every one of the incrementals in order. A differential is absolutely everything that changed since your last full backup. So you only need one full and one differential.
Okay, so taking what you have there, say you want to restore to the one you did on October 19th.
Mm-hmm.
If you clicked on that and restored it, it would go back to the 13th and grab the 524 gigs of that, and then slap on top of it the 79 gigs of the differential, and you're up to speed?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Yes. That's one of the nice things about the software, is that when you need to do the restore, you can do it if your machine is running and you just want to go backwards in time. You can do it live here. If your machine is not working right, you can boot off the rescue media.
You do the same thing.
And do the same thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
So the downside to this is, if you were to have a major catastrophe to which all your hardware was destroyed physically, you've lost everything, correct?
Well, what I would do is I have my backups all of these backups are on an external hard drive.
Yeah.
So if my laptop died or I
Well,
poured battery acid all over it,
that's not quite what I said. I said, if you had a major, God forbid, you had a major catastrophe and your total computing environment went up in smoke. You had nothing left except a bunch of wires with singed ends.
yeah,
All right. What
you have
do
to
you
pray that you have to pray that your backup drive survived.
Okay. So if you're really looking for a solution to make sure that you have good backups, you still need something offsite in order to be able to fully restore, correct?
Correct.
I just want to be clear. That's
Yes, you ideally, if you want to do it the real hardcore right way, I would buy another 4 terabyte drive and put a backup on it, and then I would give it to my sister who lives a few miles down the street from me and store it at her house.
That's true, but that's only as good as the last time you visited your sister.
That was yesterday.
Well, that's fine, but you didn't visit her this morning and you put stuff on there. I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's called a 3-2-1, 3 copies, 2 local and 1 offsite.
Yeah.
And the way I do it for the offsite is I switched to iDrive. I used to use Backblaze, but there's a wrinkle in Windows and maybe on other systems, but I'm mostly on Windows. If you're using OneDrive, OneDrive has this feature where it saves disk space. If you look under this settings, and what that means is if it looks at the last time you touched a file and decides it's past some threshold, it just leaves the copy of the file up at the cloud.
Right.
So the way I got burned on this is that I don't know exactly what happened, but I had 2 machines. Somehow their time got out of sync. The synchronization of OneDrive got messed up, and suddenly it started deleting, local copies of my OneDrive files.
Is it
Right, and
Does
that's a configurable feature in Windows. You can specify folders that you want, like here. I have folders that have a cloud icon next to them, and that shows that they are available online. The ones that have checkboxes next to them are available locally on my computer.
You can also
And
go in and just globally say, I don't want.
and you can go into properties of your let's see, you go into OneDrive and where is the show more options?
Well, Drew is looking. Part of what prompted me to come this morning is Windows all of a sudden decided, against my wishes, it was going to put all my files on OneDrive. And I'm not
Yeah.
sure until it give me back my local disk. I tried to create copies in a folder on a local disk, and OneDrive apparently obliterated the folder.
Well,
So-
what I do, which is very different, I never log into my Microsoft.
That's
Yeah,
even more-
see, you can
What I'm
here
doing
is
is,
the manage your OneDrive backup, and you can decide what you want to have backed up and what you don't want backed up. And then OneDrive has changed around a lot. You can basically, I can highlight this folder, and if I right click on it, I can say always keep on this device.
right, there's a global
And
for that. You can force it to keep all of your files.
yeah, and somewhere manage access. Maybe it's manage access. Somewhere, nope. Somewhere in here, you have the option to look at your Microsoft OneDrive settings, and maybe it's settings.
It
No,
was
it's
always
not.
keep on this drive. Oh,
Advanced settings.
Are we talking about 24H2 or 25H2?
25
major
Well,
H2.
25H2.
Yeah, this is now 25H2.
Probably.
And
Yes.
somewhere in here is the ability to here you can download all files, you can free up space. And somewhere in here, I don't know exactly where, you can specify folder by folder. There used to be, there may not be anymore, but there used to be a very nice, simple um, folder layout, and you could check boxes next to each folder and say, I wanted this one, I want this one, I don't want this one, I do want this one, I don't want. I don't know where that went.
I don't think you can do that anymore. I looked high and low for it. I might have missed it, but I couldn't find it.
Did you try asking ChatGPT or something like that?
Yeah, I did actually. I use Edge, I'm
Yeah.
embarrassed to say. So I used its Copilot.
I would
and-
try something other than Copilot.
Yeah, I take your point, but I think what I concluded is you could only do it at the top level.
And maybe my
Yeah.
issue is I use no Microsoft products.
To me, philosophically, like this is why I avoid this kind of functionality from Microsoft at all costs. The fact
Yeah,
that
this
the fact that your software vendor can, at their whim, just change the policies they use to store your
Yeah.
data is just complete anathema to me.
Oh, here we go. Choose folders. Here is where it is. You
Oh,
can
no.
say a checkbox, make all files available, and then you can go through and check and uncheck boxes. This is where it is.
So how did you get there again? I'm sorry.
Navigate again, Drew.
What I did is I went into I went into the OneDrive icon in the system tray, and I clicked on settings, and then I clicked on choose folders and brought this up.
I'll give it a
So
try.
this is where you can manage if you have enough, it all depends on how big your hard drive is, how much data you have. If you have enough storage space on your local hard drive that's compatible with your OneDrive storage, you can just check this box off that says make all files available, and it will not delete anything from your computer. In theory, it's not supposed to.
Hey, Drew, check the second sentence or third sentence up on top there. Unselected folders will be hidden from File Explorer. So the fact that you're not seeing
That's
them
what happened.
doesn't necessarily mean they are not there.
Right. And that's why I use a program called, and some of you have heard me talk about this before, a program called rclone. And I can mount, I have folders obviously that are hidden from File Explorer on Windows because they're only in the cloud. So what I do in that case is I run a program called rclone view, and I can let me close some of these out, and I will open up my DK OneDrive, and now this is my entire OneDrive. This is absolutely everything that's in the cloud, including the things that are hidden from my File Explorer on Windows. And I can choose to mount this as a drive. And then if I click on mount, I can say I want to mount my OneDrive, and I can pick a drive letter that I want to mount it to, and say save and mount, and it just created drive K. So now if I go into File Explorer and I open up a new tab, I now have a K drive, and this is now my entire Microsoft OneDrive without synchronization, without, you could actually, and I do this on some of my computers, I disable the Microsoft OneDrive synchronization software and just eliminate it from Windows and say, I don't want to synchronize because I've got a terabyte of storage online. I don't have a terabyte of space on all of my computers. I don't want all of that data on all of my computers. So what I do instead is turn off OneDrive on the computer and mount the cloud drive with rclone. And this gives me all of my files that I have online. And if I want to open up a file, I just click on it, and I've got enough bandwidth on my internet that it doesn't matter. That here's the picture that was in the cloud, so it doesn't bother me that it's not synced down to my computer.
Does that bring the image, in this case, did that image show up on your computer now locally, or is it just grabbing it from the cloud and leaving it in the cloud?
It's grabbing it from the cloud and leaving it from the cloud. It's treating it like a drive. There's no synchronization or caching or anything like that. It's this is if you had a think of this as being similar to an external hard drive.
Yeah.
Read-only external hard drive?
Did you hear the question, Drew?
No,
Read only?
no, this is read write.
Is there any way to tell OneDrive, don't touch my files, I just want them on the local disk? Under, Documents Harriet, which is where I had them before.
How
I
you
did
do
the-
that just changed.
Yeah, you got aggressive
If you-
about backing up your drive, so you got to disable it. There's a lot of underlying mechanisms here on files. If you look at the attributes using command line or whatever, you can see a system bit and a hidden bit, and that's what drives this off. And you can see the raw information of what it's
There's also
doing.
the old archive bit, which is there too, but we won't
Yeah,
go into
there's
that.
other bits, but if you just look at it using an attribute,
If you put everything under
Yeah.
system Peter, I'll be able to see it, so it's okay.
So
Well. What I was looking for.
yeah, like I have a P drive account, a P Cloud account. Nothing, I don't synchronize anything down to my computer with P Cloud. This is just 100% online. And then I have my Google Drive that I can access all my files that I store on Google. And what I do is use a program called Free File Sync. And
use that
my P Cloud drive is large enough and it's lifetime service. So I have 4 terabytes of lifetime storage that I don't pay by the year. And I use Free File Sync to back up my Google Drive and my Microsoft OneDrive to the P Cloud drive. That's how I do backup of my cloud drives. So that if anything should happen to my Microsoft account, if I got locked out of my Microsoft account, whether it be from malware or a hacker or just me stupidly not remembering the password, all of my data is in a second location on the P Cloud drive.
I use backup, I use Backblaze still, and the solution I went to is running a Free File Sync drive as a batch drive. Free File Sync as a task scheduler, batch job every day, so
Yep.
I'm within a day if something fails. But I just, it really fundamentally annoys me to have my data at Microsoft. I don't want that. And I can't figure out
Amen.
right now how to do that.
What bit me with Backblaze was, and OneDrive, was that Backblaze does not try to
The
back up OneDrive.
Backblaze, yeah, I got in touch with Backblaze support. they don't see OneDrive, which is why I had to use Free File Sync on
Well,
external
you,
drive, which does get backed up.
I switched to
I,
iDrive.
I have one computer that has a license to the Windows version of Backblaze.
It's not
And
cost-
you can back up your OneDrive files to Backblaze so long as you set them to always be available on your PC.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
That works.
If you set them to be on your PC 100% of the time, you can back them up to Backblaze because I do it.
Sure, I trust it. But iDrive has an add-on option that you give it your iCloud credentials, and it doesn't go through your PC. It just goes straight to an API on.
Yeah, I don't use iCloud. I'm sorry to, it's my first meeting and I feel really
Don't
bad about it.
apologize, that's why we're here.
But as I say, it annoys me incredibly, and it's taken me the better part of several days to figure out some workaround. I'm gonna try the always be available on the PC. That sounds like a really helpful thing, but
You got software that's fighting each other, right?
Well,
Microsoft
the-
magic on the
yeah,
upgrade.
I mean,
like,
Third parties.
Drew, go ahead.
sorry.
yeah, I mean, I'm an Android user for my phone, so that requires me to have a Google account. And I use Gmail and I store data there. And I use it for what it's worth. And Microsoft, if you're a Star Trek person, and you've heard of the Borg, Microsoft is the Borg. You will comply, and you don't have the right to say no. They will eventually force you into doing it their way. They used to match Google's cloud storage options, 1-for-1, so that if you wanted 100 gigs of storage or 200 gigs of storage, you could buy those. Now they took all that stuff away, and they have only the 100 gigabyte or a terabyte. And the 1 terabyte, they charge you for Office 365. So right now, if you want more than 100 gigabytes of storage on Microsoft, you have to go all the way to a terabyte and also pay for Office. You have no choice. That's the only. They only offer 2 options now: 100 gigabytes and a terabyte. Whereas Google still offers 200 gigabytes and 300 gigabytes, and so I use Microsoft for what I have to use it for. My Samsung phone backs up whenever I take a picture or a screen capture. My Google Photos backs up the photos onto my Google Drive. And I also have it set to back up my files, my pictures, to my OneDrive. So if I take a snapshot of my screen on my phone, within a matter of 2 seconds, it's available on my OneDrive on my computer. I never have to physically transfer the photo from my phone to my computer because it's automatically uploading to OneDrive. So that's a feature of OneDrive that I like. If I want to, if I were to take a snapshot, let's see if I can get this to work right. If I take a snapshot of my phone, you should see a message pop up in the system tray over here in a couple seconds that it's going to give me a file. Come on, do it. Show.
Well, if we look at it from a different perspective, if you have Office 365, say, look at all the other stuff we give you. If you just get Office 365.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Office 365 saves to OneDrive with no local option, especially for versioning.
We mean no local option.
For versioning, there's no longer a local option.
I believe there is.
They got
Used
rid
to
of it.
be. Oh,
They got
geez.
rid of it.
As of when, this
So
morning?
25
If I
H2.
go to
Office 360.
pictures
Article I have in chat.
and then
They inflicted AI on you when there's a
Samsung
lawsuit.
Gallery.
I'll give it to you.
Europeans have gone after Microsoft for doing that very casually. To get rid of the AI part of it in the $10 a month extra they charge you, you've got to pretend that you're going to uninstall, and then it'll offer the option to get rid of the AI that they bundled in for the $10.
Yeah, first one, 1029, is that the one we took today?
So here's a screenshot from today. That's in my Microsoft OneDrive. And I have, it goes into my OneDrive library, pictures, Samsung Gallery, screenshots.
The new one's just popped up.
And yeah, this is the one that I just did. It took a couple extra seconds, but this is the one that I just did a moment ago. So I like the convenience of that I know that if I take a picture on my phone, I can get to it from Windows because it automatically uploads to my OneDrive. So that's a nice feature.
As an iPhone user, the same thing happens with my pictures as well. They go to Apple's iCloud, which is comparable, correct?
Yep. And if I go into my pCloud drive, here is the very same screenshot on my pCloud drive. There's the picture. This is on pCloud right here. So it already uploaded the file to Google, Microsoft, and pCloud. So I have 3 copies of all of my photos. Getting back to here, I will give Steve a document with all of the hyperlinks. This is the link that I'll include in the handout to the software that lets you convert the virtual image files. And here's a link to the free version of Macrium Reflect that's still available from majorgeeks.com. And if there's no other, one question that I have, this is something that I work on periodically, being in the hurricane zone, and winter is coming up. If there are any of you that have, like I do, a cell phone that has unlimited data, you can tether your phone to your computer and then turn your computer into a hotspot. And I have a plan that is with a subsidiary of Verizon called Visible. And Visible gives me unlimited data. But what they do is, on my phone, the download data is very fast. If I do a speed test on my phone, I get 300-400 megabytes down. But if I need to, let's say my Comcast internet service goes out in my house, or let's say any of you have an outage of your home Wi-Fi, and you have a cell phone plan that has unlimited data. Comcast offers unlimited data through their phone service, but they throttle the hotspot down to a very slow speed, making it effectively useless for you, for making it, you're replacing your home Wi-Fi. If I were to turn the mobile hotspot feature on my phone and then connect my Windows computer to my phone wirelessly using the mobile hotspot, I will get maybe 3 to 5 megabytes per second up and down. I don't get the 300 that I get on the phone. But there's this software called Pair VPN, And it's available in the Microsoft store. It's available in the Apple store. And it's available on the internet for Windows. And I think it's available for the Mac as well. Yeah. And what you do is I tether my phone, with the USB cable into my Windows, and I turn on USB tethering. That gives me internet access on my computer through my phone, but only at that 3 to 5 megabytes per second. If you run Pair VPN, this is what the Windows app looks like. And there's a similar version of this that runs on your cell phone. And your cell phone runs the Pair VPN server, and your Windows computer runs the Pair VPN client. And what it does is it creates a virtual tunnel between your computer and your phone and allows you to get the full throughput of your data plan to your computer. So if I were to plug my phone into my computer and turn on Pair VPN and run speed test on my computer, I get the full 300 down on my computer. And then Microsoft has built in to Windows the ability to be a mobile hotspot. So you take your phone and you bump up the speed with Pair VPN, and then you turn on a mobile hotspot. And then I connect my TV and everything to my laptop. And then I can watch, and stream movies without, even though my Comcast internet is out. So that's another thing to think about. If you have most home internet service is very reliable today. At least it is for me. I very rarely ever have an outage. The last time it went out was during a hurricane a few years ago. It took out the cable, but it took out the cell phone service too. So there was no way for me to get on the internet during that hurricane. But since then, Florida has, Verizon has built up really strong Category 5 hurricane-proof towers. And during the hurricane that we had 2 years ago, cellular service remained, up, even though local internet may have been down. So if you run into a situation in your house where your home Wi-Fi goes out, and you have a phone that has unlimited data that's throttled down to a slow speed, you can take advantage of this software. It's available for free. It's in both of the app stores for Android and Apple. And you just pair your phone with your computer, and you just flip this little button, and 10 or 15 seconds later, you've got full throughput to your data plan on your phone.
A question, Drew?
Sure.
On my iPad, also on my MacBook that I'm using right now, I can go into settings and choose network. Actually, it's Wi-Fi, and I can see that I can use the hotspot from my phone. I haven't installed any special software for that on my MacBook.
Right. I can do that too. I have a tablet. It's not an iPad. It's an Android tablet. If I turn on my mobile hotspot on my phone and I connect my tablet to it, my tablet gets throttled down to 3 megabytes per second. I don't get the full speed. If I use Pair VPN, I get the full speed. That's the difference. Now, it's possible that, there are, if you are if you pay Verizon $100 a month, for your service, you may have a mobile hotspot that is not throttled down. That gives you more data. They may say after you use 20 gigabytes, they might slow it down. and you might get a diminishing return. And as you're sitting at home watching streaming movies from Netflix, you'll run your cell phone carrier will start throttling your service down, and your speed will get so slow that you won't be able to do video streaming. This prevents that from happening.
Hey, Drew, if it's free software, where are they, what's their revenues? What's their revenue model? I mean, there's no free lunch in this world, especially in the world of the internet.
I don't know. There's no options to get a paid version in the App Store. There's no pop-up ads. There's no buy this or buy that or upgrade to a higher version.
Small North Korean mom and pop, they're doing that as good as they are.
Yeah.
I don't know how they stay in business.
I mean, I
But-
think it's really, what you're saying is really interesting. However, I'm looking at the revenue side of it, which is the bottom line. And, maybe it is a small North Korean mom and pop. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. And it even has, see, it says, if you need help, feel free to email the developer. And here's his email address. And I've talked to them on the phone. I've actually chatted with them. And if you send them an email, they will respond. And like I said, I don't know how they make money. It's there's nowhere to buy anything on this website.
Yeah, I don't mind that it's free. I'm just wondering what they, what I'm paying for, that it's not money.
It's all your passwords.
Exactly.
There may be a hobbyist like you are, right?
I don't know.
One thing I want to do is do a quick poll. Adam and Drew, I know already run virtualization. Who else runs virtualization? Anybody here? A little bit? Anybody else on the call? Okay, and how many people are thinking of using virtualization?
Now,
Okay, and for why?
that's what I wanted to ask Peter after the meeting. I got that on my list.
Okay,
I always leave Drew's
Oh.
lectures, his lectures, but I always leave with about 2.5 hours worth of homework.
yeah, but he talked about 5 different virtualization
I know that.
technologies, and you get by on one, and keep it simple, and you don't need all this workarounds of converting between different VMs. And I'm just trying to see if people haven't even gone to virtualization, much less look at all the extra options that you have there, Drew.
Well, being a techie person, I do computers for a living. It's my job. And so I keep versions of Linux available for me to have here that customers of mine are using that, I don't keep a physical Linux box here that has, 3 different versions of Linux on it, or 3 different Linux machines. But I have customers that run Linux Mint. I have customers that run Ubuntu. And I have those running in virtual machines. And after you've been using VMware and VirtualBox for a period of time, you learn that each of them has advantages and disadvantages over the other. And for example, plugging in and unplugging a flash drive. If you want to plug a flash drive in and hand it over from your host computer to the virtual machine, it's far easier and less cumbersome and easy to do in virtual VMware than it is in VirtualBox. VirtualBox is a pain in the ass. It works, but you have to know how to do it. VMware, it gives it to you right in the menu. When you launch a virtual machine, it has a let me boot this guy back up again and you'll see. It has a menu item called removable devices. And when you plug a flash drive into your computer, a message pops up on your screen and says, would you like to connect this flash drive to your host or to your virtual machine? And you pick it, and whatever you pick, that's where it lands. VirtualBox doesn't work that way. So in here, it has a removable device tab, and I can pick, here's my Samsung backup drive. I can say connect it, disconnect it from the host, and connect it to the virtual machine. VirtualBox doesn't have a menu option like this. So
How do you
I
get it
use
back?
both.
Drew, how would you get that back to the host after you connect it here? When you close your virtual machine, does it revert back to the host?
Well, when you, if I were to say connect it, it would then give me the option in here to disconnect it if I want to.
Well, it looks like you're not getting an option. It's telling you what it's going to do, right?
Well, let me plug a flash drive in, and it pops up a box, and it says connect it to the host or connect it to the virtual machine. And the virtual machine that's running right now is Lexington. So I'll say connect it to the virtual machine, please. And connect it to Lexington and say okay. And now I should be able to go into File Explorer and here's my Revo uninstaller flash drive.
Yep. Well, I was talking
And
about
that's
the
now, if I go in here and I say removable devices, this is now it has a button that says disconnect, connect it to the host. And I just click that button and it goes away.
All right, so my question was slightly different. You took your Samsung drive, which was the big drive, and you say, connect it to the virtual machine, disconnect from the host. Say for one reason or another, this crashes, or this goes down, or this, it disappears without you reconnecting it to the host. What happens to that on the host machine? You have to find it again and get it reconnected somehow, or does it revert automatically? You're just putting a bypass in terms of the device driver.
It's just a software link into the hook into the software, into the virtual machine software. So if I attached, I run my virtual machines off of the SSD. So actually most of them are running on my D drive. So I could plug this drive in to my virtual machine. If the virtual machine crashed, it would just revert back to the host.
All right, so the link that's being established, okay, I understand. The link that's being established for the external drive, that's all part of the environment of your virtual machine. It's in
Yes.
within the host machine still knows all about it, except you're just on the virtual machine now and accessing it because that's where
Yeah,
it's
you can't access it in both. You can't access it in both places at the same time. If I like my Samsung drive is drive E in Windows. If I connect it to a virtual machine, drive E will go away in Windows. It won't be there anymore.
So maybe that's my question. Then what happens if
the virtual machine closes down, I'll get my E drive back.
Closes down is one thing. Crashes is another.
It crashes, terminates any way, shape, or form. If it terminates, it will revert back to the host.
So Peter, time check.
Yeah.
Drew, do you want to do a quick review of the chat? I think there are a few questions that are in there, and maybe answers, especially from Bob.
Now, what uses or needs are there to have a VM with another OS running on your system? Being a computer technician, I install a lot of software that I don't want installed on my machine. I install them to learn how to use it. Maybe it's a trial version or a demo version that it only goes for 30 days. I install that into a virtual machine rather than installing it into my host machine and my production machine.
So it could be used to install software that you're not sure if you want to keep.
I install trialware in a virtual machine.
Microsoft.
I have a variety of Linux machines that have different software installed.
Another use case is to test out
Yeah.
an operating system like Linux until you're sure you know which Linux you want or whether you want it at all.
Well, you're saying that, to be sure, virtual machines are interesting, but you still have to have, in my opinion, some technical knowledge in order to install it and use it and manage it.
Yes.
It isn't for, somebody who's getting their first machine, and knows how to start a computer.
Yeah, like here's an example. A friend of mine in Florida recently dumped Windows and went to Linux, but still needed to be able to run his Quicken accounting software. So he created a virtual machine of his Windows machine that he had, and he runs that on his Linux machine, so that he runs Linux. His computer boots Linux. He doesn't have a computer that boots Windows anymore, but he still has the ability to run Windows software in the virtual machine.
So he boots Linux on his machine, but he boots a virtual machine running Windows.
Well,
Yes.
doesn't Linux come with dual boot? You can boot a Windows emulator, if you will, is part of Linux.
No.
No.
However, you can download some software called WinBoat, which will do that, but you still need that Windows license.
Still need a license for it, okay.
But WinBoat is how you do it, and it basically involves setting up a container using Docker.
Got it.
So Adam has a lot of virtual machines, and he took it from his corporate environment where he worked at a bank. If you want to keep stuff secure, you probably could run it in one VM, for example. And so there's no crosstalk to your other software. You can just shut down the VM. It's like having another computer.
If you want to browse the internet and do things that you don't want to have cookies and web tracking and things stored on your primary computer, you can go into a virtual machine, do all the browsing around the internet that you want, and then throw it away.
Or reload it from the checkpoint. That's all.